Hello again, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the CollectorCast. Now, I'm in the study today because I'm home alone and it's cold in my games room because the heater isn't currently working in there. So, the video quality isn't as good, but being a podcast, not really that big of a deal to me at least. That's just there as a little tidbit on the end. So if you're listening to this through audio, you probably won't notice any difference. If you're watching it through video, it's a little bit dark. If I put my head over there, you can kind of see me. Very strange the way this thing's working. And today, I also have my dog. So if you hear this sort of rattly noise, that's me patting the dog because she's being very demanding. Today's subject is going to be the Sega Master System. I figured if I'm going to do an episode of this on a particular console, which is, the whole point of the entire thing, I should probably do it on one of my favorites, and this is definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite system, mostly because of nostalgia's sake, and most of the games I played as a kid were really good, but more nostalgia than anything else, I think. I had an NES, but the Master System was first, and that's the one I played the most, because I had the most games for it. So with that little intro out the way, let's turn on my phone on silent too. Oh, shut up. The first thing about the Master System I should mention is it's actually really, really easy to collect for. There aren't many PAL games you can't get for cheap. NTSC is a little bit different. There's Sonic 2, which I think is the most expensive Master System game off the top of my head. Just because the only difference between the PAL and the NTSC version is there's a little sticker on the back, and that little sticker is apparently worth $200 and something. So, yeah. But other than that, the most expensive games, I've actually lost them. There's Golden Axe Warrior, it's about $60-$70. The Sonic 2 and NTSC is about 200 and something, if not more. There was a couple of other ones. There's a awful sports game that I think is a couple of hundred because it was only released in limited quantities, and there's a couple of others. I'll bring it up while I'm talking about it. Stop licking me. And so all in all, it's actually a really, really simple system to collect for, and all the common games, which is basically 290 out of the 320 games available for the system, or the 318, I think I wrote. Yeah, 318. Stop licking me. Are relatively easy to get a hold of. Oh yeah, there it is. James Buster Douglas Knockout Boxing is one of the more expensive ones, and it's so Sonic the Hedgehog, according to Racket Boy, is $300 to $500. The NTSC version, or Sonic 1 apparently. I thought it was 2. Yeah, and then you have James Buster Douglas Knockout Boxing, which is $150 to $400. And then you have Golden Axe Warrior, which is $65 to $200, then Outrun, then Power Strike 2, Phantasy Star, Outrun 3D. These are all $50 games. Moonwalker, Alex Kidd, and Shinobi World. Now, personally, I have most of those. I have Alex Kidd, Shinobi, I have Moonwalker, I have Outrun 3D, I have Phantasy Star. I don't have Power Strike 2. I think I have Outrun, and I definitely have Golden Axe Warrior, which I got for a steal, considering. On top of that, there's a couple of Brazilian releases. The Tectoy, who made this, who I think also distributed the Master System in Brazil. It actually went nuts in Brazil. Just think of the Famicom in Japan. That lasted 15 years. The Master System done the same thing in Brazil, and they had lots of revisions. There was even a wireless portable system, kind of like the sorry, the camera moved. Kind of like the Mega Jets. No, the Mega Jet was the airplane one. Yeah, it was like the Mega Jet, except you could transmit wirelessly to your TV. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, there's not really much else going on with them. Really? I'll be right back. Alright, now I'm back. I apologize for that. That was just my lovely mother calling. So go her. But I fixed up the camera. I moved it so that the light out the back doesn't ruin the camera. Anyway, so where was I? So basically, the Master System is simple to collect for, and about 90% to 95% of the games you can get for $10, $20, $5. Most of the I've got 1/3 of the collection. I got 107 unique games, all complete, all boxed at least. Some of them are missing manuals, but most of them are complete. And I haven't paid more than $10 for a game, or $20 for a couple of the rarer ones like Ultima and Phantasy Star and all that kind of stuff. But it's very good to collect for. And on top of that, just outside of the game, there's also some really cool accessories you can get. You can get your phaser, which is your light gun bullshit, which kind of works okay and kind of looks pretty cool. There are some really good games for it as well. There's Operation Wolf, which is the only one I can think of off the top of my head. I can't think of any other ones. Yeah, and you can get 3D glasses, which is fucking awesome. I mean, that's just such an awesome idea. And because of the way it's designed, you can actually just get the 3D card. It works off a card input on the front of the Master System 1, because there's 2 revisions for the Master System if you don't know much about it. And you can plug it into the card slot and actually use modern 3D glasses. You know, the comfortable ones, as long as it has a plug input. Silly dog. It'll work. So that's really good. It's not so much forward thinking as pure as dumb luck, but it's great. Sorry. And there's some really cool arcade sticks. The controller itself, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of crap. The D-pad is this awful squishy square. If you're an electronicsy type person, I highly recommend modding an NES controller, which I really need to do at some point, to work on the Master System. It should not be too hard, considering the Master System doesn't use any kind of encoding between the controller and the system. It's just pure button inputs, which is why you can use a Master System controller on an Atari and a Genesis or a Mega Drive controller on an Atari, and they're all backwards and forwards compatible. So yeah, that's cool. And back on what I said before, there are 2 revisions to the system. There's a Master System one, which is like this really cool, big, boxy thing. You know, it kind of looked like an 80s version of a spaceship from 2020 or something. And then they had this slick, slimline Master System 2, which had a built-in game. Most of the time it was Alex Kidd in Miracle World, and a couple of them had Sonic, and there was another one, I think, Hang On, I think was on. It might have been the Master System one. I don't remember off the top of my head. Probably should have researched this, but if you watch my videos and you listen to me ramble, I don't research. I just kind of talk. So yeah, revisions are cool. Yeah, and so like that's talking about the general stuff of it. The one of the main reasons I like it, and this is going to sound really fucking stupid, is, well, these days anyway, as a collector, I like the game cases. I've got a couple here. Okay, this is Alex Kidd in High Tech World. Now, if you look up a cover online, if you're listening to this and not watching it, they're all uniform. Well, 99% of them are uniform, kind of like PS2 in PAL region, and they're all the same thing, you know. They've all got this checkerboard pattern. They've all got the black writing with the Sega logo on top of the white text. They've all got like the genre on the side. They've all got previews at the back and things. It tells you how many players, tells you how many scenes or levels. It's got all that kind of awesome stuff. And then if you open it up, the cartridges, they're all the same. They're all ugly as shit, but they're all the same. And the manuals, they're all this blue and white awfulness, but they're all the same. Some of them differ in size, but for the most part, they're all the same. On top of that, when you compare this to an NES cover, this is hard plastic. So it's really easy to find boxed ones of these because they don't get stuffed like the cardboard ones from the NES or from the SNES or from the 64. Sega knew what they were doing, basically. And this is another cover I just wanted to point out. This is actually one without... This is Robocop 3 without the uniformity. But there aren't many. I think this is the only one I've got that has a non-uniform cover out of 100 and something games. So it's pretty good. What are the graphics like? The graphics are pretty much on par with an NES. The sound, I think the main difference in the sound is that the NES is more of a, kind of, if you compare a classical piano to an electric guitar, it's more crunchy on the Master System, more kind of metally and clunky, but it kind of serves its purpose for some games, whereas, you know, if you had an RPG with an orchestral score, it would sound much better on the NES than it would on the Master System. I think the same goes for the Mega Drive versus the SNES as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. And yeah, on top of that, there really isn't a lot to say about it. I mean, there are just so many cheap, good games for the system that for me to start rattling some off, I could think of about 20 off the top of my head. There's Alex Kidd in Miracle World, which I will talk about Alex Kidd in a second. Alex Kidd in Shinobi World, which is basically another game on the Mega Drive with Alex Kidd in it, which is Shinobi. And the Shinobi series is awesome. Shinobi, Cyber Shinobi, and Shadow Dancer. I forgot that name. And they rebooted Shinobi recently, which actually I haven't played. I've got it, but I have not played it. You also have Sonic, obviously. Sonic got its origins on the Master System. Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic Spinball. I think there wasn't any others, but I'm probably wrong. Sonic Blast apparently got released on there, in Brazil at least. You have, you know what, I'm losing my mind. You have Golden Axe and Golden Axe Warrior. I didn't like Warrior as much, but it's still pretty decent. Golden Axe itself is awesome. You know, it's Golden Axe. It's an arcade port, and Golden Axe is amazing. You know, there are games like Castle of Illusion, which, you know, I haven't played a lot of, but it's actually fun from what I remember. There's the Wonder Boy series, which is Wonder Boy 1 is a side-scrolling, I won't say beat-em-up, but it's where Adventure Island stole their idea from if you played the NES version. And then you have number 2 and 3, which are RPGs, which are amazing RPGs, and I've got the arcade boards, and they're just as, like, they're almost as good as the arcade boards. You have a game like Fantasy Zone, which started off as an arcade game, and this is probably one of the most accurate ports I've ever played. The TurboGrafx 16 is nearly pixel perfect to the arcade one, but this one comes pretty bloody close. I'm just going through my games list, trying to rattle off a couple more. Yeah, I don't think there's much else that was really standing out as fantastic. Ultima got its start on this system as well. So did Ease, I believe. I do have a couple of the Ease one of the Ease games. Sorry. Ultima, that's Ultima 4. So I think it was one of the first console ones. I don't doubt it's any good, but yeah. And you have games like the Lucky Dime Caper, which was actually pretty good, which is kind of a precursor to DuckTales. Yeah, that's about it. I think that's enough about the games. What else? Alex Kidd. Okay, so Alex Kidd got his start and pretty much his death on the Master System. Alex Kidd in Miracle World was a very popular game. It was very good. I thought it was a very good game. It got built into the Master System too. It's a fucking awesome adventure game. My dad, my brother, and me used to play it. My dad and my brother are still fucking excellent at it. They can pass it without dying. Me, I always sucked. I was always shit at most of these games. So, oh well. Yeah, so Alex Kidd was meant to be the Mario of Sega. It was meant to be the logo, I'm sorry, I've lost the word. The mascot for Sega. And it really didn't go too well because, well, Alex Kidd in Miracle World was great. Then they released a string of really fucking awful ones. Shinobi World wasn't bad. I think High Tech World, which I've got here, was absolute garbage. Then there was Alex Kidd. What's the other one? The Lost Stars, which is also crap. And then it was the Enchanted Castle, I think, on the Mega Drive. And they were all pretty much garbage, Enchanted Castle. So he kind of died off. And Sonic took over, and Sonic was obviously really popular until recently when they ruined it. But that's another story for another system. So, if you haven't heard of Alex Kidd, you probably weren't born when these games were around. I was born as this system was getting released. I think I was born in 1987. Late 1987, I think. The NES and the Master System both came out about that time. So, I was the right age for it all. And I got it ingrained in my memory. Can't remember my own birthday most days, but I can remember that kind of crap. On top of that, what are some other cool things you could do with a Master System? Well, to be honest, not a whole lot. If you're an electronicsy type as well, you can make it into a arcade machine board, which I have done before. You can RGB mod them pretty easily. You can region mod them. You can 50-60 Hz mod them, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically in PAL territories where I am, you get 50 Hz, 50 frames per second on your TV. And then in the US and Japan and all the NTSC regions, you get 60 frames per second. 60 hertz. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so what, it just looks a bit sluggish. Well, no. Basically, most people didn't optimize their games for us. So the games actually slowed down. So if you play, just say, Alex Kidd in Miracle World, the game is super fucking easy in Power Region, but it's the reason for that is it's actually a lot slower. That's like 20% slower nearly. So it does make quite a large difference. So if you stick the region switch on it, it's just a click of a switch, all of a sudden you're playing games at full speed, and then you realise that the Alex Kidd theme is amazing. And not that it wasn't when it was 50 hertz, but it's just so much better when it's a bit faster. There's only, I think, one retro system you can't do this kind of mod for, and that's the NES, off the top of my head, because there was no switch for it. It was all done with hardware. So you need to buy an out-of-region NES. An SNES you can, Mega Drive you can, a 64 is another one you can't. Nintendo were really good at this. All the Sega systems you can. I don't know about the Japanese, the Mark 1 and all that kind of stuff, but all the PAL released and the American released ones you can. And I don't know about the GameCube, to be honest, but I think with the modern systems there's not too much of a difference because people have started actually coding it with what's called the delta, which is, you don't put in, you move 3 inches in one frame, you move 3 inches in 1 second, and then you move, depending on how many frames have gone by, or how much time has gone by since the last frame. It's very nerdy for me to talk about this on a game collecting podcast, but whatever. I think I might leave it there. I don't have a lot to say about the Master System. I think having a podcast on my own is kind of a very stupid idea, but I like listening to myself speak as long as it's not recorded and I'm listening to it again. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. If you are the kind of person who does not care about original systems and original hardware, and you happen to have a Mega Drive, you can get a Master System adapter for that. Other than that, I don't think the Master System was very popular in the States, and a lot of people have built clone systems after it, but I could be wrong about that. But it's probably cheaper to pick up a Mega Drive and a converter than it is to pick up a Master System, and you can play Mega Drive games as well. That's right. Before I go, about the card slot on the on the Master System 1, there is, I think, five or six games released on like a card, like a credit card. If you haven't played a TurboGrafx 16, it's the exact same as a TurboGrafx 16 card almost. Same kind of shape, same kind of deal. There was Hang On, there was Teddy Boy, Bank Panic. I have another one, the Punch Face. What's it fucking called? The Punch Face. It's called the Punch Face. I can't find it. I don't remember. Yeah, and there were two others that I do not know off the top of my head, which once again, if I was a decent podcaster, I would have researched this, but I am awful. And I just wanted to hear myself speak. So that's kind of another little cool tidbit that they came up with. It was used a lot in the the Japanese system, Mark III and the Mark I, I think. But other than that, it wasn't really used a lot over here. And on that note, I'm going to leave it. If you are interested in Master System collecting and you want to shoot me some questions, I am actually a little bit more knowledgeable than I make myself out to be. Mostly because I'm horrible at talking. But feel free to shoot me questions. I'm happy to answer them, happy to address them in another, like a response cast or some shit. If you want a decent game, do not get this, which is Robocop 3, which I just threw on the floor, and do not get this, which is Alex Kidd in High Tech World. I'm actually going to retract my last statement. I remember liking Robocop 3. No, I played it recently, it was crap. If you want a decent game, just get a Master System 2 with Alex Kidd built in. That game is amazing. Go get Sonic if you like that kind of game. I personally do not. Or go get Bank Panic if you like fucking stupid games, which I do. I quite like that game. Yeah, that is it. This is Jason, hello, and I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys later.